Hey, who'd you talk to? What is going on? It is me, Mike Lepre, King McHale. It's legit fantasy basketball time here at Legit Fantasy Sports. I am on location in Tampa Bay because I'm here to, be here for the Super Bowl. Doesn't seem to be anybody around yet, but that's okay. I don't mind that. Joining me, as always, is the man of the show, Coach TJ. Coach TJ, how you doing?
Awesome. Good afternoon. Great day
Isn't it?
It is a great day in NBA land. You see the Sixers last night? Unbelievable.
It really was. It really was. I'll agree with that one. Let's just bring the IQ level up just a little bit. Genius Kev. Genius, how are you?
Very, very good, King. Good to see you, TJ. And I just want to say, as a genius, I know there's times to talk and there's times to listen. And when Coach TJ is on the show, it's a time to listen. That's all I'm going to say to start us off.
Very well said. Very well said. You know, it is friggin' warm in Tampa right now, and there's literally nobody around. I had to bring my own drink. It's ridiculous. So, guys, the NBA this week, right? There's two things that struck out to me. Is one, some guys, they don't have to play, and they don't. And then some guys, especially the young kids, are balling. Like this, if you're a fan of basketball, right now there's some teams with some kids that are just flat out balling, and to watch how good they look it's been a lot of fun. Like this was a fun week for me as far as the NBA. I don't know. What do you think, TJ? What do you think about the games you've been watching?
Well, the Sixers Lakers game last night was like playoff level basketball. Like it really was. The Sixers played great in the second half, and then of course the Lakers come back because the Sixers and to watch it, it was like I don't know if they're ready to win this game right now. Like I don't know if that team is mature enough to hold on to that lead, and they were. And it was a heck of a play by Harris down the stretch. It's funny that Doc went to him in the last minute. But the story of the week to me right now is Utah. I mean, Utah's just playing out of their mind right now. And on this very show, I was talking about how that contract, I think that contract was a little ridiculous given down there in Utah for the big man.
Hey, TJ, move into your mic. Move into it. Yeah, like come close to it.
This is as close as I can be.
Oh, speak louder. There was something that was causing a. Kev, could you hear it? It was more like you was kind of like.
It actually sounded pretty good to me, so I don't know.
All right, just lean into it. But go ahead with Gobert in the 10-win streak, Jazz.
Yeah, they're on fire right now, and they're clicking on all cylinders. They got the best record in the West. I don't think anyone saw that coming right now. Yeah, so that's been the most fun story to follow this week. And the third story, James Harden is never not going to be a story. He actually looks like he's playing real basketball right now. Like I don't hate watching him, and I thought I would, and I don't. So I think this, we're at a good start in the NBA, good place in the NBA right now.
Yeah, you know what? Two things to jump out. The Jazz, Gobert, they are playing extremely well, like better than I thought they would. And last night, the Nets, they all shared like the pie. Like it actually worked out. It looked like they all dropped 20 something and they all just spread it and won. Like that's scary. That was scary. I don't know if that's going to be a constant because you got Kyrie, but if they do stay on that path, that's a tough ass team to beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, King. If the Nets can play like that, the Sixers bring it like they did against the Lakers. I can't. And like, let's say all things stay the same, and we get that as an Eastern Conference Final. I think we'd be have our minds blown. I think that would be absolutely phenomenal because the Sixers. I thought that was amazing. What Harris did at the end, Embiid took that big shot. Even Simmons ended up with a triple double. That was a really, really strong showing for them, and if Brooklyn brings that talent there and they're playing well together, I can't even imagine how that series would go. It would be phenomenal to watch.
So TJ, you're a fan. Tell me this. What happened to Tobias Harris? What did he do this year that he's like?
Well, I think it's two things. I think one is Doc, because Harris had his best year of his career when he was with the Clippers when Doc was there. And then the second thing is, it's almost like they made an effort this season to make him the closer, and not just because of last night's shot, but when we get into a tough possession, Harris is the guy that's going to take the shot. He's playing with a lot more confidence. I felt like last year he didn't know, am I supposed to be screen roll with Embiid every time down? Am I supposed to be standing the corner guy? And now they're like almost putting him in the role that they had Jimmy Butler in, where it's like, no, when we get under 10 seconds, we're going to give you the basketball and you're going to go score. And confidence does a lot for that guy. Don't forget, Tobias Harris is a really good player. He's been on like 8 teams, so I feel like people don't understand how talented he is. But he's been that X factor right now because there's definitely a big 3, and he's right on par. He's the guy right now. So that's pretty exciting.
Confidence is like jet fuel. Like in basketball, probably like a closing pitcher. Like confidence is so big. Like even like watching my son play and the kids play. A kid who plays with confidence, he just scores more. He does better. It just does. And when
confidence is the decisiveness. So if you're a confident, like Kevin Durant is decisive when he's playing basketball because he's going to take the shot he wants to take. You got some of these guys that are trying to figure out their role. You can always tell who they are because it's always like they're a half step slow, or maybe not a half step, but a thought too slow about what they're going to do. And when JJ Redick plays, he's playing with confidence. Like he's coming off, he's going to catch and shoot. But you see a guy like Tobias Harris last year looked like he was trying to find his way. And I think that, that showed up on the box. That showed up in the box score.
No, I agree. I agree. Yeah. So, what one thing that I was the Jazz thing was one of the things that was interesting to me, but the other was Wiseman going up against Edwards. They the 1 and 2 pick played each other when Golden State played Minnesota. Did you guys watch that and catch that game at all? Did you see it? Because they actually played each other. They manned each other up at times. So it was weird. You got to see them kind of play each other at times.
Yeah, I'm sure it was awesome for the fans in Golden State and Minnesota, but let's just say I flipped by that one. We're gonna be honest with each other here. Yeah, that was I kind of flipped by that one right there.
I got him in my fantasy dynasty basketball league, Edwards. So I'm just interested in what he has to what he's gonna do. So to see him go up against the one play the 2, and the fact that they made them play each other like Godzilla and King Kong, it ended up being 130 to 108. And it went. Wiseman had 13 points, 4 boards, 2 blocks, and then Edwards had 15 points, 3 boards, an assist, and a steal. Which stat line do you prefer? I'm being dead honest, TJ. Which stat line would you rather have?
The one that wins the game. That's the stat line I prefer in that situation. It's crazy that you read out those stat lines though, and it just shows you how. We were talking about how this draft last week. We talked about how this draft has a lot of pros and a lot of starters in it, but those are not like magnificent stat lines.
No.
1 and 2. I mean, we've come a long way from Pat Ewing coming in the league and being an all-star right away. I mean, now we're talking about, well, what do you like better, 15-4 or 13-3? I don't know. So it's good that those guys are playing and matching up, and it's even better for you for sticking it out and watching the game.
Though. I like to see matchups like that. If you tell me that the 1 and 2 pick are going to play each other, that's just something I want to watch because there's got to be some sort of mental banter that's going on between the two of them. They're like links, so there's got to be some shit talk that's like next level, right? Like there's got to be. So that's what would interest me. Genius, does that make sense to you?
No, it definitely makes sense. The only comment I'll say on the stat line, I just looked at the box score now because I didn't watch the game either. It looks like Wiseman only played like 24 minutes.
Yeah.
So and Edwards played 32. So him putting up his numbers in that lower, the lower amount of minutes is definitely something that jumped out.
Yeah, but what's funny is like when they came in, they made them play each other. So I don't know, it's kind of cool. I felt like they're doing it on purpose for us. But all right. So let's jump over this then, TJ. What do you think about Bradley Beals' wife? Sending out on Twitter, it was like, so sick of this. Like, what the fuck is up with wives? talking about their husband's sports and their situation.
I think it's funny. I think that she should keep her little mouth shut over there because Bradley's about to lead the NBA in scoring, and he's going to go make an awful lot of money. And I think the best thing for her and Bradley Beal's bank account is for the Wizards to continue to stink and for him to keep dropping 40. Because when it says I'm the scoring champ and I want a contract, he's going to go to a contender. I'll tell you what, he's not the best scorer in the NBA. Let's get that right out there. But they're going to be lining up for this guy. He's going to go be a starter on a really good team next year. He's going to be the 1A option. You know, he's not exactly the GOAT. He can't carry you, but he'll be there. She's been staying out of the locker room because let me tell you one thing about a losing locker room. It sucks anyway. And the last thing you need is to be answering questions after you lose your 8th straight game by 10 points about what the best player's wife said about you. So, yeah, stay off Twitter. Keep your mouth shut. You're about to make a lot of money. I mean, he's already making a lot of money. But
the thing with is, see, you're so dead right on this. I was thinking this exactly the same way. Some dumb team is going to oversign him next year. That's what happens. Some dumb team in search of a scoring leader is going to give him stupid money. She needs to shut up because if she makes it seem like it's not a good situation there, like he's not a stable person, now he's losing millions, in my opinion. If she shuts up, which is simple, I think that's like a couple more million.
Or at least the quality of team that he's going to go to because you know, he's a natural fit in Minnesota. You know, they could use a scorer. They have Karl Anthony Towns there. That guy, you know, Bradley Beal, after losing this much, you got to think he wants to go play in a team that's like a Milwaukee type or a Boston type or somebody that's going to be a playoff team. And yeah, we really need that headache in the locker room. I wish I stay off the Twitter.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable that people are allowed to just put out their opinions. It's just like, you know, some people just they just need to shut up. It's like just
and let's not act like Bradley Beal's wife's got a tough road. I mean, they're living pretty good in the Beal family. You know, how you can't take it. The rest of us got work tomorrow. Like, don't worry about what's going on in the Beal house.
I don't think you're dead right on that. Hey, so here's one of the things that stuck out to me. AllStar Voting started, and they immediately put up the projected starters so far and projected bench. So I want to read to you the West first, and these are the 5 that are leading in the voting. So it would be the starting 5, which sucks now because they don't go by position. They don't go like point guard, shooting guard. Which, you know what? I want that back. I want that back. I want roles back. I think taking roles out, which brings me back to that same thing, Kev. Everybody same size, the same way. I want certain positions. I want the power forward. I want a different size person for that. I want a center. I want a shooting guard.
Well, like exactly, Q. We always talk about this, but you said Wiseman and Edwards played against each other. How tall is Wiseman?
7 feet, right?
How tall is Edwards?
6'7". Not
he's supposed to be like a shooting guard. Wiseman's supposed to be a center, and they went back. They played against each other as rookies. You know, like there are no like that's a perfect example of what the NBA is. Like, could you imagine? Like, go back and we'll date myself. Can you imagine like Robert Parrish trying to match up against Isaiah Thomas, or Joe Dumars, a shooting guard? It would be a joke. It would be a joke. But like the game you watched, I'm sure it was entertaining. I'm sure it wasn't like I'm sure Wiseman didn't back him in and dunk on him every time, and I'm sure Edwards couldn't dribble around him to score layups every time, which is what would have happened 20 years ago when there were positions.
So a lot of it's well, I do something.
Yeah, I think you do.
Back in the 80s or even the 90s, if you got caught on a switch, you were screwed.
Yep.
Moses Malone ended up on a guard, it's all done. And the same thing would happen on the other side of the floor if the same switch happened, where now you got a small guy guarding a post player who actually was a post player. But now because everybody does the same effing job outside of like 10 guys in the league, everybody can play everybody because you're not going to make them pay anymore. Like, you're really not going to pay. Ben Simmons has got guys guarding him every night who are 6'3", 6'4", and he can't make them pay because they're all doing the same thing. And from an all-star voting, to bring it back to where we want to be with the all-star teams, I want positions, and I want to go back to East and West. I don't like this whole thing that we do now. Like I'm just not a fan of it. Like Joel is the best center in the East. He should be playing in the East, starting at center. Period.
So check this out. This was the dunk last night that he had on Wiseman.
Oh,
and play it back. It's so nasty.
Whoa.
Play. See if I can get it to play again. Hold on. I'm going to replay it.
Now, after everything that we just said, at the same token,
that's a brutal dunk.
Robert Parrish, that shit.
Watch it.
He blew right by him. Oh.
He made a decision and goes. Ready? Watch.
Yeah, I'm jumping.
Oh my God!
Elbow to the rim.
Video skips, but look at this. Look at this. Look, Kev. Look.
Yeah.
Oh. That's why he's playing a guy that's that big. You know what I mean? Like that's why you can't play a guy that's that big.
Yeah.
But but there's no one in this league else. Maybe Embiid, but there's no one in this league that can just take him to the block and take jump hooks until he has to come out of the game, or you need to switch. Like 80s bigs would just kill you. Even 90s bigs. Olajuwon's going to kill a guy that's 7 inches shorter than him. He's just going to eat him alive, and that's how it's going to go. I think we lost Mike, Kev. I'm in
the dark.
Yeah.
I'm here. Hear me?
Would they turn the lights off in the stadium?
I think they turn the lights off in this. I'm being serious. The lights are.
Tampa.
Yeah, see, King. This is, I guess, the whole Baker Mayfield living in the stadium is not as glamorous as they make it look on those commercials. Because now you're sitting in the dark in a bleacher in a regular stadium seat. That doesn't look fun.
I don't know what happened. I shared my screen, and then when I came back from share screen, I'm no longer there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm here.
So TJ, what you were just bringing up, and that's what kills me. And obviously, the two of us aren't going to solve it. But like you said, like an Olajuwon, like somebody like that had all those post moves, could back one of these kids down and destroy them all night until they had to do something about it. So what's the sort of allure to not having position, like not having somebody like that? Like there's no 13-year-old kid that's going to grow to be 7 feet that just loves all the intricacy of the footwork and like the jump hooks and the drop steps and you know what I mean? Like they just not want to do it.
I think this kid that plays like Kevin McHale.
Yeah.
There's two problems. There's so much pick and roll right now. I don't know if you want to invest in a guy that can't play pick and roll defense. And the second thing is, I mean, you look at Embiid for an example because he's probably the closest thing to a traditional big we have. The most important shot he took last night was a bleeping 3.
Yeah.
And it's like these guys are out here taking threes, and then you got these math nerds like Daryl Morey and all these other guys that want to. And I just like baseball, where the math dictates X, Y, and Z. The math in basketball says if you take 43s, it's better than taking 62s, and these teams are really doing it. So if you have a guy on the floor that can't shoot and just wants to live in the pivot, it's really hard, unless another Shaq comes along that's just so dominant that he changes the entire thing. But I think this is the direction of the league, for better or worse.
Yeah, and your comment on the pick and roll D is a very, very good one, because you're right. Everyone that's like that's the, I don't want to say the major piece of the offense, but everyone runs pick and roll. You're right. If Kevin McHale had to defend that stuff every night, he probably would have never made the NBA. Like he would be so exposed, it would be kind of embarrassing. And that guy was dropping 28, 26 points a game with that inside very well developed inside repertoire, and he wouldn't even get on the court now because he'd be run out of the building. That's crazy. It's a very good point.
You got to wonder if you got to wonder what his role is in today's NBA.
Yeah.
Who's he guarding?
Yeah. When you say it like that, it makes complete sense to me because I'm picturing it. Like I remember, this is going to date me. Remember when Jordan was hurt like the whole year and he came back against the Celtics in that playoff series and he dropped like 63 on them. And I think the Celtics won in triple overtime. He dropped 63 on them. And I remember McHale somehow got switched onto him and he's there and he's standing there and Jordan's just rocking back and forth to the ball, and he smokes him. Like it was an unbelievable, like it personified who the Celtics were and what they were about and what the Jordan Bulls were becoming. And like, you know, that evolves obviously to where we are now, but like that, you're right. He could not play a quick, like one of these athletes.
And the brain, everybody played. So McHale was the other big stiff on his side.
Yeah.
So he's coming down. He's not playing on the perimeter. Now you have to play on the perimeter because everybody's on the perimeter. So there's a whole bunch of guys that fall into that category where you wonder, like, as great as they were, who can you play now?
Yeah.
But Kevin Durant would – I mean, we're talking about making guys fall. Like, Kevin McHale. Bill Walton can't play in this era. All the great things he does, even some of the big – the Otis Gilmore types, like the big –
oh, my God.
that stuff's kind of gone. I mean, to be a big, you almost have to be with David. You got to have David Robinson's body. You got to be lanky and long and be quick and fast and all the stuff that made him a freak. There's like 6 guys like David Robinson right now.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame. So it's unfortunate because I do like that style of basketball better than all this motion ISO pick and roll shit. But we are where we are. You know, and I think there's a way to exploit it. I think Embiid can exploit it if they would just settle in on we're just going to be big and bang it down low. But you see how he plays; he's at the top of the key half the damn game. So
yeah, it's crazy. And like the way you broke it down, it does make sense. And like it's going to take a team that somehow figures out how to exploit it to make everybody change again. Because you're like the thing you said, like Daryl Morley is a perfect example of it. Like that. And like the what's his name? The guy who's I can't remember space on his name. The coach of the Houston, who's now an assistant coach in Brooklyn, D'Antoni. The radical, super wide spacing to give Harden all that room. It's really, really crazy. And I wonder when the math sort of turns around because it's like right now it's a weird game to watch.
The math will turn around when the shooting percentages drop. Because then the math doesn't work anymore. Then you want to start getting some high percentage shots. And the other thing that could happen is if you get a real generational big. Now I'm not talking Embiid or Anthony Towns. I'm talking about if Shaq comes back.
Yeah.
You get that guy. Then whatever team lands him is going to have to. They're going to have to change the way they play, and they're going to have to give him help on the pick and roll because he's such a dominant factor on the other end. But we don't have that in our game right now. And some of the best big men we have want to play on the perimeter, so we are where we are. I'll tell you what, Jokic from Denver, he does all kinds of things with the basketball. So that's
what was the name? Who from Denver?
Jokic.
Okay, yes. And
he's almost like old school in the way that they get him the ball and then they cut off him, and that's a real cool system of offense to watch. Is when the big man has the ball and he's making decisions inside and outside. I like to watch them play, and they actually started. You know, they're playing real well right now. They're creeping up in the standings too.
Why the fuck am I a brick wall? Well, how did that happen?
If my wife came down here, she'd think I was in that corner.
Yeah, right. You're talking about a brick wall. It's ridiculous. Hold on, I'll figure this out. It's got. I don't know what's going on,
actually, but okay, I think it's a good metaphor for talking to you. It is, you know.
I don't. Yeah, it's got to do, I think, with the green thing. So I don't know where I'm at with that. But
are you behind the wall? Can you come around?
There's no wall. There's nothing to see. All right, so let me just go over who the starters are. I know we got off track because we started talking about positions. But I wanted to just name who they had as the starters. So the brick wall is going to tell you guys who they had for the West. So in the West, you had – actually, you know what? TJ, guess who the 5 were in the West?
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm going to go
and
out
you can't even see me. I'm a brick wall.
Your brick wall. There's no hints being involved here.
No hints. No hints.
I mean, it's LeBron,
Yep, that's one.
Davis, Steph.
No, Anthony Davis is not starting.
Then they're wrong. Davis,
You only got one so far, LeBron.
Steph.
Nope, not starting.
What? Who's
They're
voting?
both on the team though, but they won't be starters.
And these are voted. These are votes.
Yep.
Oh, Donovan Mitchell, Kawhi,
All right. Not Mitchell. Mitchell's on the bench. Kawhi's a starter. So it's LeBron and Kawhi.
Damian Lillard. Then it's got to be Lillard
Lillard's the third.
and Jokic.
Jokic is the fourth.
I'm missing one.
Yeah, it's the same sort of name.
Come on, Dallas, Luka.
Luka Don. What do you think of that five? What do you think of that five? Do you think that should be the five, or do you think they should go by? You know what I'm saying? Like, should we still be doing this, like, whoever the top five is bullshit, or should we be like, who's the best team? Like, let the coach put together the best team. Or do you think it should be top?
Well, you're gonna have Stephanie Davis on the best team they put out there. If I had to pick 5 guys in the West to win a game with, I'm going with Steph, Davis, LeBron, Kawhi.
Probably. Yeah. But all right, so then I don't know what that did there. Let's go to the East really quick, because this is what's that?
You really sound like you're in a brick wall.
Does it sound like I'm in a brick wall?
Yeah.
Jeff, does it sound like I'm in a brick wall?
Yeah, your audio's a little off, and TJ's just kind of cutting it out now.
What? How did I become a brick wall with bad audio? All right, tell me if that's any better.
A little bit.
All right, I'm gonna do my best on this. I'm gonna figure it out as I go. Here is the East starters, though. I'll defer again. TJ, the 5 top vote getters in the East.
Durant, Embiid, Harden.
Nope.
Giannis.
Durant and Embiid.
Harden's not.
No Harden. Bench.
He's new there. Durant, Embiid, Giannis.
Yep. Giannis. So Durant, Embiid, Giannis. You need 2 more.
Boy, that's tough.
Well, you just talked about it for a half hour.
They put tell me they didn't put Kawhi on the damn first team.
No. This is the East.
Beal?
Bradley Beal.
I'll tell you what, Jaylen Brown belongs in that top 5 if we're going off what's happened so
and that's
far.
number 5.
No shit. Good for him.
Jaylen Brown.
Good for him.
So their start 5 is Giannis, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, Bradley Beal, and Jaylen Brown.
That's actually that's a pretty good team.
That's a nice team, huh?
It is. And the bench, listen to the bench though. It's Jason Tatum, it's Sabonis, Julius Randle, James Harden, Trae Young, Zach LaVine, and then that kid, that guy Bam. I screwed that up.
Oh, Bam, yeah.
Yeah, and then the West, they're just, we can go back. Their bench would include Paul George, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Zion Williams, Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker. Those are really good teams, man.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
If that West bench played that West starters, I'm taking the bench.
Ha ha.
Hey.
Oh, I gotta go back to this is what I gotta do. All right, I got it.
I think I like the West bench better than the West starters.
Yeah?
Hmm.
You think so?
Yeah. And Ben Simmons belongs on that damn All-Star team if they're going to be the number 1 seed going into the break. So I don't know who's got to go, but somebody does. Because if you're the number 1 seed and you're a 2-man team, then man number 2 gets on the All-Star team. That's the way it goes.
That's true. That's technically true, I guess.
Or it's a bias. You got to have one. You got to have 2 All-Stars if you're the number 1 seed.
Well, all right. So wait a minute.
Trae Young bullshit.
King loves Trae Young. What are you talking about?
I like him a lot too, but
no, I don't. I don't really like Trae Young. I told you he weirds me out. He really does. He's a little bit.
You don't like his hair?
Yeah, he's creepy. He's a little bit creepy. So, all right. So wait a minute. Hold on one second. So, here's the next part I wanted to move on to. I keep getting into an argument over not who the best basketball player is, but who the second best basketball player is. Kobe or LeBron. Now, how much do stats completely matter?
I got to stop you. The second best basketball player of all time is Michael Jordan.
So who's first then?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the best basketball player of all time. The guy never fucking lost for 30 years.
I don't think he was the best basketball player of all time. He was the best
player of basketball, which is the same
skyhook shooter. He was the best skyhook shooter.
Nah, you're mistaken.
I was a Laker fan. I love Kareem, but
you're thinking about Kareem.
Skyhooks.
You were looking at Kareem, and you, not just you, I also. When you think of Kareem, the first image that pops into your head is an old bald man with glasses, right?
Well, yeah.
That was Kareem. He was like almost done. I'm talking about.
But I'm not 60, so this is what I got.
They didn't change the fucking rules for Kareem. They changed them. They're like, you can't dunk anymore because you'll score 80 a game. And then he went to the NBA and he dominated the NBA. He has more points than anybody. So I know that's not the conversation you want to have, but I want to be on record. Jordan is not as good as Kareem at the game of basketball.
All right. I disagree. I think Kareem was a better scorer. I think Michael Jordan was a better basketball player. I think Kareem was better in karate. I think Michael Jordan was better at selling stuff.
Selling.
My point is this. Michael Jordan, to me, is number one, right? See, again, Kareem, to me, wasn't an all-around player as how I would see the best basketball player. So that would be my argument. Whether you buy that or not, that would be my argument. I'm looking for more of a complete basketball player.
I'll give you 5 minutes on Kareem next week.
All right. Lou Alcindor. Like, I loved Jordan, but second, I like Kobe over LeBron. And look, I don't know if I'm right with the argument anymore because I can't seem to win people over with it. But it's like people are now sold that LeBron is the second best. In other words, he's the second best. That's it. He's just the second best. Kev, you buy that?
See, I gotta be transparent here. I hated Kobe his entire career because he was a Laker and I'm a Celtics fan. I just absolutely hated him. But his killer instinct is probably he reminds me the most of Jordan. Like, Jordan took every single thing as a competition through the roof. Like, if golfing, every single thing he did, poker, everything. And Kobe was kind of the same way with his mental mindset. And he was an angry player, and he was cranky as a 24-year-old. And it was painful to watch as someone that wasn't a fan. And I would even bet it was painful to watch even as a fan. But LeBron, I don't like him because he doesn't look like he's trying. And that's a weird thing for me because he's so much. He's built like a linebacker. He can run. He can do everything. But he almost trots around. He almost floats around the floor, and I don't understand it. Like, for me, the thing with him is you got to look at potential. Like Master Ron was saying in the last show, potential. I'm one of these people that thinks if LeBron really tried and loved basketball and had killer instinct, he'd probably win 10 championships. Whereas he's kind of content to do what he does, and he's winning a bunch anyway, but he doesn't really think he cares. So I would say if I had to pick somebody to play on a team with, it would probably be Kobe because he's so serious and because he's got all the skills, but he has a killer instinct. Whereas LeBron would probably just fucking annoy me.
You got some good points there, Kev, especially with LeBron liking to have teammates around him. It seems like he always wants guys that are good to be with him. Like, he needs them to be around them. TJ, what do you think of that argument?
Oh. Well, first thing is,
go ahead.
LeBron's 36 years old right now, and he's playing at an MVP level. So I don't know. He always looks like he's trying, but there's no effing way you can have many miles on your body and still look like LeBron and play pretty much every night. without having the give a shit factor. If I had to play with somebody and I could just mute, like put a gray screen over their face, I'd rather play with LeBron than Kobe because I like to shoot the ball, and LeBron would probably pass it to me when I was open. Where I don't think Kobe was a willing passer ever.
Okay.
That said,
Kobe would never pass to any of us.
That said, I can't stand LeBron. Like I just can't stomach him anymore. And I was the biggest LeBron supporter. In terms of this argument, it was usually the Jordan versus LeBron argument because LeBron just fills up a stat sheet. He's a better passer. He's a better rebounder. He's a better at pretty much everything. And now he's a better three-point shooter than Steph Curry right now, if you look at the numbers. But his post-game interviews, it's like my teammates, I saw. Like, dude, we know you're LeBron. You don't have to tell us all the effing time that you're LeBron. Like, we know. You know how we know? You're everywhere. Whereas Kobe was just that dude. Same when he was young and when he got old, he got more grumpy when he got old, but it was cool because he used to curse every now and then. Like, I just love Kobe.
See,
you know, I just find it hard. Like Kobe's just Kobe, and I think if I'm building a team with the two of them and I'm the coach, I'm taking Kobe. Because I'm just not dealing with LeBron's selfish bullshit. I'd rather a guy take 50 shots but say the right things than be LeBron, who sometimes I think it's just passing for show with that selfish approach.
Yeah, so look, I think when you say he can't get to where he is without being, like, dedicated or whatnot, I think he is, just not really to basketball. It's almost to, like, business with LeBron. That's what I get from him. It's like almost like he's always been cultivating the brand name LeBron, like he over winning championships. Because I watch the games, and there's no way anybody can tell me that he's playing his hardest. Because there's moments in serious games where he plays his hardest. He does it in front of us. It's not like we're making it up. It'll be like a big game, and all of a sudden LeBron just takes over and scores 8. And you're like,
right, but it's almost impossible. I know it's easier to glorify the guys we only saw highlight films from, but like, do you really think Jordan was playing his hardest on a Tuesday in Cleveland? Like, I don't know that he was. I mean, I read an awful lot about the 86 Celtics. Bird had games where he scored 13. Like, he didn't come out and score 40 points with a triple-double every night. I think LeBron in the playoffs, he's had some bad luck that Golden State built that team because he should have more rings than he does. And he even with that said, I mean, he's going to finish with 6 or 7. Like, I really feel like he is.
I think Jordan had almost like a sickness of competition. Yeah. So I would say, in Milwaukee on like a Tuesday, him and like a Larry Bird are out there trying to find out, like, what's the highest score ever in this arena? Like, they're out looking for motivation because they're just freaks like that lived off of the competition, just like Kobe does. Yeah. Where that's where I agree. What's his face does not that's not LeBron's deal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it is a sickness. Like, Jordan had it, Bird has it, Kobe definitely has it. It's like Brady and Rodgers, like, they always have to have a chip on their shoulder. There's going to be something. I was listening to some Rivals podcast, and it was Jordan versus Isaiah, and they had like the thing with the supposed Isaiah freeze out of Jordan in the All-Star game, and Jordan never ever forgave that. You know, who knows? Maybe he forgave it now since they're both older. But while they were both playing, he never ever forgave it. And he fucking hated Isaiah, hated the Pistons. You know, Chicago obviously turned the page and passed them, but that was like maybe not even been a real slight, but he took it as an insult that he was frozen out in the All-Star game by Isaiah, and he never let it go. If you were playing checkers with Jordan and you beat him, he will come back at you over and over and over because he has a sickness, and you know.
Yeah, let's be honest, those guys are assholes. They have to be, right? Those definitely. Living with Kobe, he had to be an asshole. You got to know that. But see, I don't mind that because when I played ball, I would go right along with the asshole. Like, I'm that way too. Like, let's win this friggin' game. But LeBron, I don't think I would get along with. Like, it's true.
No way.
He comes off fake. Like, I don't think I could trust that guy at all.
I think the right thing. You started with it. It's something about the LeBron brand. Like, I wonder if he's great just to build the brand. Like,
that's what I mean.
It's like a side effect. So,
yeah.
like, basketball is almost a side effect. But I don't question whether he works at it. And he carried some shit teams. Some of those Cleveland teams were not pretty. And then you got LeBron, and he's just dragging teams to the finals like every single year. So I'm not going to say that about that. And Kobe, don't forget, when Kobe was driving Shaq out the door, he wasn't exactly winning the Teammate of the Year Mary Poppins Award either. So I think to be at the pinnacle in that business, I think you have to have a chip on your shoulder in some way, shape, or form. Like, something's got to drive you. And I think Giannis has that. Like, I don't think Giannis wants to make friends. And I know Milwaukee's not like where we thought they would be right now, but I feel like him maybe it's because they're European and they haven't grown up in the American AAU culture, but I don't think Luka's trying to be buddy-buddy with anybody either. And I think there's something said about guys that just want to come in and just ball. And I like those kind of players. And I think that's why, from a personal standpoint, even though there's no number that would ever prove this, but I would rather roll with Kobe. But if you had to push me and say who's better at basketball, then LeBron's probably better.
TJ, comment on what you said about John. It's like, I don't know if you heard that quote when he was before they signed him to that extension. They were asked, like, does he want to go and play with anybody? Does he want to play with, like, become part of a super team? Like, who does he want to play with? And he's like, play with them. I want to beat them. Like I love that. That's such an old school thing. Like, maybe you said, like, it's because it's European, and it's not like through the USAAU system where everybody knows everybody and you want to play together with these super teams. But when he said that, I was like, I can get behind this guy. Like, that's phenomenal. I loved it.
You're exactly right. We lost that. Like, in the NBA.
Yeah.
That thing. Like, these teams each other. Like, you play a team a couple times, it might be a little mini rivalry. I guess Cleveland Golden State was a rivalry, but LeBron and Steph don't, like, hate each other. You go back to, like, the 80s especially. Like, those guys were not – like, they were not going to go team up. And I'm not even talking about just necessarily Celtics and Lakers. Those guys were on a team, and they played for their team, and they stayed there. And I like Giannis for that. And I like to see them get him a little more help around Milwaukee, though. I think Middleton's being exposed that he's not a true number 2 right now. But yeah, Giannis has that attitude. And I think it has to do with this culture in America where we have an AAU tournament on Saturday. And if your team gets eliminated Saturday, your best player is playing for the other team on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, but by the time you get to the Final Four in each tournament, it's the same 25 All-Americans, and they're all buddy-buddy. And they all got the free sneakers, and they're all, because – obviously, when they lose, it's not their fault. So we're going to get a new team. NBA with these guys bouncing around, and that's a reason why I like when some of these teams stay together. I do, because it gives you a sense of what the team's identity is. And I saw Utah play 2 times in the past 3 weeks, but I know what I'm getting with Utah because Mitchell's been there for a while, and but we're not going back in time.
Let me ask you something. Going back in time. Being in the bubble, you think there were guys that had trouble not drinking? Like, in other words, like back in the 80s, guys would be hammered.
Yeah.
And they'd show up for practice hammered. You know what I mean? That couldn't happen in the bubble, right? Like, ain't nobody pounding like a 6-pack before they go out into the bubble, right? So, do you think more players were sober? I know this is a crazy question, but I was thinking about it. You think they were that changed, less drinking, that lifestyle became no?
We talked a little about this last time. I don't think it was just the bubble. I think it's the reality of where pro athletes are now. Like, Chris Mullin was an alcoholic. He readily admits it. Maniac. Drink of choice was beer. You know how much beer you have to drink to be an alcoholic? And he was slamming 6-packs and 6-packs. And you remember watching him play. Sweetest jump shot, like a maniac, but his career burned out fast. Guys don't do that now. Like, they care about their bodies so much more. I would even like a Jordan, Oakley, like those guys can go out. You don't hear that stuff as nearly as much anymore. So I don't know if it was I don't think it's a bubble thing. I think it's like they view themselves as like assets, and they probably should because of the amount of money they sign for now is generational wealth.
That's not fun.
$1 deal. It's generational. Like you sign one extension at a max, and your family is set forever if you're reasonably smart, and they treat their bodies that way. That's what I think. I don't know, TJ. What are your thoughts?
Well, in the 70s, so Bill Simmons wrote a book called The Book of Basketball. It's the greatest thing. And he's so funny. He's just a great writer. But when he gets into the 70s, like his line is that they should have just made the free throw line made out of Coke because that's how much. So in the 70s, and maybe that's why Kareem was so damn dominant. But everybody was blowing lines in the 70s. In the 80s, when you look at the Celtics, those guys really were beer drinkers. Like they were just like Larry Bird's like some Indiana redneck beer drinking dude. These guys now, I don't think there's as many of those kind of characters in the NBA. Like when you hear these stories about James Harden at the strip club, he's not putting down Budweisers. Like I don't know what he's drinking. I'm not friends with James Harden, but I can tell you it's not Budweisers like Bill Walton and Kevin McHale. But when they went into this bubble, Mike, they sure as hell didn't test for weed. Like they made that clear. We're not testing for pot, and we're not worrying about pot. So, is pot as fun as beer? I don't know. That's for someone else to decide. But there's definitely not smoking.
I can tell you, and what I'll tell you about that is, obviously, the hangover from alcohol is a million times worse than a hangover if you could really get a hangover, I guess, from weed. So, did alcohol leave the NBA and the NBA became less fun? And then now that's why we're getting these same size athletes and everything's changing. Like, are we losing characters? Do we need to bring back alcohol into the NBA?
Yeah. What I always say is you could look at a 76ers team from like the 80s, like the team that like a 76ers Celtics team. You would look at the 76ers and you would look at 5 guys that looked like they just walked out of a bar in like West Philly. That's what they looked like. They weren't all jacked. They weren't all lean. They were obviously athletes, but they looked like they actually might have a little fun in their lives. And you look, and then you had the Celtics that were obviously like TJ said, a bunch of beer drinking. Like Bird was a Indiana redneck, and to me it was a little more fun because they seemed more like real people. Now they seem almost like racehorses, like thoroughbreds, where you have to. You're always worrying about the supplements and the who's vegetarian, who's vegan, who's on this, who's on that. Whereas then it was like, wow, where do they like? That's Andrew Toney. That's what Andrew Toney looks like. That's Maurice Cheeks. And it was. I liked it a lot better. It seemed a little bit more relatable.
Yeah. Literally, that's why I love Luke. You can see his whole attitude as he plays the game. The kid's playing the game. Like he's having a ball. So it's like when you watch him play, it's like I get into it. Some guys like Al Horford, it's like good night. It's like every night. Whatever that lady whose name was, Nancy from Off Track Lady or whatever it was, every night. But yeah, seriously, some guys you want like that's why I guess I ended up watching that rotten game. Because those 2 young kids were playing hard against each other, and it's fun to catch somebody playing really hard. You know what I mean? Because I'm watching the NBA more this year than I have in the last several years, and I catch some games where they're not playing, and I hate to admit that or say that out loud, but I feel like they're not playing in some games. Some games are definitely playing.
Some of that has to do with it. There's a couple things of note with that. First of all, there was no league pass when we were younger. So we only had a game or 2 a week that was on national television.
And they knew it.
They generally gave us the best games with the best players. And that's the image that we have in our head. Like, I can tell you, I never watched like a Kings-Pacers game in 1987. So I have no idea how bad it was.
Yeah.
We can romanticize the guys we saw because we were generally watching the playoffs, the finals, and the big matchups. Like in my head, the Celtics played the Lakers all the time. They only played them twice a year, but that game was like on TV, and my parents made me watch.
Like Christmas Day was one.
Yeah,
Christmas Day, yeah.
You have that, and the second thing with this year in terms of guys not playing hard, they're playing in front of empty buildings, and I don't give a shit who you are. It cannot be easy to get up to go play in a 20,000 seat arena in front of 25 people. Like that takes that's hard. and I give these guys credit for the ones who are playing for playing, but I can understand why some of these bad teams look like they're going through the motions because you don't even have a crowd to freaking chant defense. Like you're just out there.
So other than the crowds, though, is basketball yet another, not even just sport, but another like organization or company or whatever you want to call it that social media has just kind of screwed over? Like in other words, we see too much. It shows us too much. Like the internet, this whole World Wide Web, it shows us more than we want to see. We didn't used to see all this stuff, and life was good. I don't care if the guy playing in like Milwaukee is drunk and crashes his car. That's not a big story for me. Like there's better stories around here. Keep that in Milwaukee. But now every story is everywhere, and I feel like we just keep opening the box. And we keep asking for more information, and then somehow we're starting to suppress certain information. So is it ruining it too?
It's interesting because on one side we want characters, but the second a guy shows any piece of personality, we got to freaking call him a psychopath.
Exactly.
Like, okay, we want characters. Kyrie's like, well, look at me, I'm a character, and the first thing I do is get on the freaking podcast and say Kyrie's a pain in the ass. So these guys their whole life, and then we want them to be, of the people. So whereas Bill Walton and the 86 Celtics can go to a freaking Grateful Dead concert, right, and sit in the fourth row, now if one of these guys like does a shot of Hennessy and somebody puts it on Instagram and it goes viral, then the guy's got to check himself into rehab. Like, we can't, as a society, we can't have it both ways. Like, do we want characters? If we are, then we got to enjoy them instead of ripping them apart all the time. But I like characters on the floor. Like I like Damian Lillard is a character on the floor. Like he's got a persona, and I like Steph's a character on the floor.
Yep, I agree, and I think we're squashing it. We're letting. I
don't want everybody to be Kawhi's boring ass.
Yeah. But we're letting I almost feel like we're letting and I know this is going to make me sound like I'm going on another crazy WNBA rant, but I almost feel like we're letting middle America like white housewives decide decisions that trickle down to where basketball players are all kind of clonish and they don't do anything separate. There's no character.
Right. It's not just basketball, and I don't think it's like middle America. It's this weird what TJ's saying. It's this weird some kind of virtue signaling where as soon as someone does something that might be that doesn't completely line up with the most popular agenda at the time, you ostracize them and you make them apologize and all this stuff. Where the flip side of it is no one has a spine. Because every scandal in the U.S. blows over in 48 hours, unless you feel it yourself. If you just ignore it, if you get a shot of a picture of James Harden doing double shots of Hennessy in a strip club, and everyone comes down on him, and he just ignored it. In 48 hours, it would go away. It would go on to the next thing. But we allow the media to do this virtue, this holier than thou bullshit thing, and I don't know why we go along with it. Because if I were a pro athlete, I would never go along with it. I'd just be just ignore it. But they don't. In the NBA, the NBA reacts. They step in, and like TJ was saying, oh wait, now in this scenario, James Harden's going to look into checking into some kind of rehab because he drank twice in a week. It's stupid. It's stupidity, and we're letting it control everything that happens in these things.
So there's probably more of a cultural or a political topic, right? But my response to that is the way that because people have told me before, you better watch out what you say, you're going to get canceled, right?
Yeah.
The way you respond to the cancel culture is fuck you, you can't cancel me.
Yeah.
And the way James Harden should respond to getting caught in a strip club is saying, yo, I went to the strip club.
That's it. That's exactly it. That's what got Tom Brady in trouble. That's it.
I want to apologize to my fans. The team. Listen, buddy, if I say something out of line and someone's offended, that's too damn bad. I'm not writing an apology that I don't mean. And if I started doing that instead of trying to, Drew Brees apologized for standing for a damn national anthem. To the point to apologize.
He got in trouble for giving his reason why he likes to stand up.
And you know what?
Yeah.
Because when you give him an inch, now you got to apologize for the next thing that's more ridiculous than that. Whereas these guys, I'm waiting for one of them to get in front of the camera and say, "Look, I'm a 26-year-old guy making $40 million a year.
I'm going to the strip club."
And whoever that guy is will become my favorite player. The one that's, I did that. I said that. And if you don't like it, go interview somebody else. I wish somebody.
Yeah.
Imagine Luka sitting down and going, I'm young, I'm single, I'm rich, and I wanted titties in my face. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah.
We'd all be like, "Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God." Jerseys going through the roof.
Everyone, instead it's, I want to apologize for my teammates that out in society without my mask on.
Saying their name.
But we can't have characters if we keep making these guys apologize every time they do anything. Like they're going to stay in their shell. We don't want them in their bubble. But if the second they go out of their bubble, there's 57 people trying to get them to say something. It's not even do something. It's say something.
Yeah.
Guy, Dennis Rodman puts on a wedding dress. I mean, what are you going to do? That was wild. But could you imagine canceling guys for their political friggin' views? That's what you got guys scared to friggin' put a flag on their flag on their jacket because it's I'm so sorry I offended you.
It's I hope that kind of worm turns at some point, and it will, but I don't know how long it's going to take, because it's right now we're in like you said, it squashes all individuality. We say we want it, but then as soon as they do it, we're making them apologize for doing nothing. It's not like they're breaking laws. It's not like they're hurting anybody. But look, like Mike said, I'm 26 years old. Or you said, TJ, I'm making $40 million a year, and I felt like having titties in my face. What the fuck what is wrong with that? Why do you have to apologize for letting your teammates down, letting your fans down, letting the city of Houston down, you know what I mean? It's unbelievable. I don't get it. I really don't.
It's 100% true. That's how it is. You know what? And I'm glad that we're talking about it, because a lot of people won't say that. They'll avoid that. In other words, there's some people that would just start nodding their heads like this.
Yeah.
That's how people react nowadays. My kids, I love my kids, of course, but every time I say anything, I'm not even saying anything. They go, "Oh." I'm like, "What? I didn't even say anything yet." I didn't. But they just think I'm going to say something that's, even though I never do, which blows my mind, which is just part of the culture. All right, let's get to some winners. Let's run down to Thursday night games, Friday night games. I got the spreads. Let's pick our picks. And then we got to figure out a way on Saturday to get them the picks for Saturday and for Sunday games. It probably would have to be early on Saturday, because aren't there early Saturday games, 3, at least sometimes 3, 1.
Not this weekend. They were all night games.
Oh, all right. That's better for us.
Sundays,
all right.
Early games.
Are you guys ready to start the games? We got 4 for Thursday we're going to go through. I'm going to mark them down. We're going to keep track of the winners this time. And we're going to be honest about who won and who did not win. So let me put a little TJ box, a little Genius box.
Oh, don't do that.
Then a box for the King. All right, here we go. Blazers at Rockets. Rockets -5. TJ, you got it first.
Tell you, five's a lot to give. 5 is a lot to give.
They're at home, the Rockets, but it's the Blazers. And 5 is a lot.
5 is a lot. I'm going to take Houston. I'm going to take the points at home.
So you want Houston -5?
No, +5.
Houston's favored.
Houston's giving 5?
Houston's giving 5 points. Are you reading that backwards?
Yeah, I just read it on the thing. Houston's favored 5.
Oh, no. Give me Portland in the points.
How could that be?
Hold on. I'll re. I gambled through the track. So that could be it. But hold on. Right here. Right now the Rockets are -3.5. So it was 4.
Oh, I'll still take the points.
All right, so you want Houston -4. Genius?
No, he said to take the points. So he wants Blazers plus.
I want the
Blazers.
Yeah.
You're confusing me.
Sorry.
I'm getting confused.
I want the Blazers also.
I'm going to stick with you guys because That's the jersey my son wanted for Christmas. The Damian Lillard, the black jersey. Fucking amazing jersey. I know that's not a reason to pick them, but they're gonna win anyways. Warriors at Suns. Suns -1.5. That's a great game, in my opinion. TJ.
I'll take Phoenix.
-1.5.
Yeah, -1.5 at home. Yeah.
Kev.
Yeah, I want Phoenix also.
I'm gonna go with the Warriors because the 1.5 is really small. It really is. It just makes me think that it's a.
It seemed low to me. I don't know if maybe Phoenix is sitting somebody, but that seemed kind of low. But whatever.
Clippers at Heat. Heat are -3.5. TJ, who you got?
I'll take the Clippers. Speaking of the Heat, does anybody remember 90 days ago when Jimmy Butler was in the finals and everybody thought he was like a T-ball NBA player? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's not it. Jimmy Butler's not that guy. He is a tough son of a gun, though, and I like to see him on a different team. I don't think Miami's the spot because they try to make him the man. But if you're talking about a tough guy, I like me some Jimmy Butler, but I don't like Miami right now. They don't look that good to me.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Kev.
What's the line, Mike?
For which one?
The Clippers Heat.
Oh, it's 3.5. Heat 3.5.
I'll do Clippers.
Yeah.
I'll do Clippers.
Yeah, I like the Clippers myself. Well, drop that down. We only disagreed on one so far. All right, Lakers -6.5 against the Pistons. I'll tell you right now, I don't like 6.5. I'm a Laker fan. I think they should thump the Pistons tonight. I don't like 6.5. Is someone sitting? What's the deal? I don't like 6.5. TJ, who do you like there?
I don't know. The Lakers come off a tough one last night. They played a lot of guys a lot of minutes too.
Yep.
But I can't get behind Detroit.
Yeah.
It's hard to get behind Detroit.
Why is it 6.5 though?
I don't know. There's no good reason for it to be 6. That is a big number. Detroit's terrible. That's what it is. I'm going to take away the point.
Yeah, I don't like. You know what? I think the safe bet is what you're doing, taking the Lakers with the points. But I'm going to take the Pistons because there's something about that spread that tells me the Lakers are going to win by 3. There's just something about that spread. That point spread.
Back.
What's that?
I mean, that matters.
What do you think, Kev?
It's a 6.5 is kind of a lot, but
not for the Lakers.
I can't bet. I couldn't bet the Pistons. So yeah, I guess I have to go LA.
Right? It's weird as hell. All right, so let us jump to Friday's games. Now, let me ask you this quick. Out of your 4 picks for the Thursday games, which 3 would you put together as a parlay? I like to give people parlays if they like to do that. Which 3 teams you feel the most solid about in that?
If you're asking me, I'd probably leave off the Laker game.
Okay.
I would leave off the Laker game because, like you said,
makes sense.
They're coming off a back-to-back. They're coming off a tough game last night. It's a big number. I would probably just leave that one alone. I only picked this too.
You're definitely right on that. You're definitely right because I don't like that. I don't like that spread. This spread's weird. All right, Kev, you want to add something, or does that make sense to you too?
No, that makes sense.
All right, moving to Friday, gentlemen. I don't have the line for the Cavs Knicks. That's the only line that won't come up. So we're just gonna do an outright. I'm gonna say the Knicks because the Knicks are in a skid of 1-3, something like that, and I like the Knicks to cover because I don't think they're obviously not going to be favored. So I'll take the Knicks at home. They're going to be getting something for points. Something. I don't know the spread yet. TJ?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cleveland. I've been riding Cleveland pretty much all year. They're a weird team. They're 9-9 right now. They'd make but they have a negative point differential. So I get that, and I probably wouldn't take them and lay too many points. But if that game's close to a push, and it might be, if it's just a pick 'em, then I'd take Cleveland.
Yep.
I hate to say it, but I got to go Knicks.
Yeah, something about them. Something about them. All right, Bucks 6.5 at the Pelicans. TJ.
I don't know. I think Zion is a good player.
Yeah, I know. I think too.
I think he is. I'm just having a hard time with it right now. I feel like they just can't put it together with him. I'll take the Bucks. I'll give the points.
I'm in agreement with that. Actually, everything you said. So I'm with that. Kev.
Yeah, I like Milwaukee in this one. And TJ, we don't have time on this show, but I would like to hear your thoughts on Zion. 'Cause I hate when someone comes out and they're like the anointed one without really having done anything.
He should have never been anointed. Should have never been anointed.
I hate that.
Me personally, even from the start of Go, I didn't like the way the kid's skill set. I didn't. Anytime they say he reminds me of Larry Johnson, I don't. No, that's not good. Grandmama.
Larry Johnson's a good player. The problem is when you say he could be the next LeBron, and then you set the bar at LeBron, and there's only one LeBron. Like who else? LeBron's been hyped up since he was like 12 years old, and but that's almost never ever happened. I still think he's a solid NBA player. He's gonna have a good long career. I like him a lot, but I don't like him tomorrow.
DJ, well, what you said about LeBron, I remember when he was like, it was his 6th grade or 8th grade, because they do, they look at prospects that young. And I remember seeing his name from when he was at least, I don't want to say 6th grade, so that may be a stretch, but it was definitely 8th grade. They were already predicting him to be LeBron, to be like all world. And it was like the first time I ever really saw that, because again, this was like decades ago. We didn't have the level of information we have now, and I was just blown away. I was like, that this kid who's an 8th grader is going to be an all-world, your NBA talent. It blew my mind completely, but I remember reading it.
Quick LeBron story about that. I'm in the band, and we're in New York playing a club. And the club is got like packed, about 300 people, 350 people. And you've been to like a concert. In between bands, they usually play music, like house music. You know what I mean? Over the speakers as the other band sets up. This one day, after band would end, we were watching LeBron play high school basketball. Like, I swear to God, like, I know that's dating me, but like, there was no music. They just turned the TVs up, and even everybody that was like the rockers, everybody went to the TV. Like, it was unbelievable, dude. In high school, that should be rock music. They're like those straight edge kids with the X's and all that shit. Like, they want to hear music, but even they were like, "Oh, that's that LeBron guy." I'm dead serious. That happened to me twice when I was in the band. Like, we ended up watching LeBron, and then when my wife was in labor. Like that night, he was playing the Hawks. The Cavs were playing the Hawks on TV right before my kids were born. And I'm like trying to tell her that's that LeBron guy, and she's in all this pain. And I'm totally me, not paying attention. I'm like, this is LeBron. She's like, oh, it's LeBron. He's going to be really good. You could care less,
It's going to be really good.
Classic. All right, sorry. Nets 7.5 over the Thunder. TJ, who do you have?
Well, I'm gonna lay the points. I'll take the Nets.
Kev?
Yeah, Nets.
I'm all in on that. Pacers -3.5 at the Hornets. TJ?
We never talk about the Pacers. We haven't talked about them once except for the first show for 3 seconds when we were doing top threes. The Pacers are a good basketball team, and Sabonis is a good basketball player. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Pacers. Hopefully, we get a chance to touch on them because they get a couple of good things going on over there. They're gonna be a player.
I agree with you. Sabonis is great. Like, I really like the kid. I like his dad. Remember his dad? Remember his dad played for what? Portland? No, right?
Yeah, we saw him on the ass end when he was just
at the end. Yeah,
he was unbelievable, like globally.
Yeah, we caught the end of his career. Kev, who do you like?
It's Pacers at Hornets. What did you have? 3.5?
Yeah, Pacers 3.5.
Yeah, I'll go Pacers. It's funny. We have way too much agreement today.
You know what? That's going to be a good game because those are two young teams. Like that's going to be a really good game, I think. Kings at the Raptors. Raptors are -5.5. They need to change their name. I'm just stating that. That's a dumb name, Raptors. But go ahead, TJ. 5.5, Raptors.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the points. I'm disappointed in the Kings. I'm more disappointed in the Raptors, but I'm gonna take the points.
Kev?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Raptors.
Fuck. All right, we're all in on that one. Hawks
No,
minus 5.5 at the Wizards.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. TJ and I just went opposed each other, and you didn't make a pick.
What? He went with the Raptors.
He took the points. TJ took the points with the Kings. I'm laying the points with the Raptors.
Disappointed with the Raptors. My bad. Didn't you say you were disappointed with them first? 6 on one hand, half a dozen on the other. You know how it goes, Kev. So that's two of them.
Next week, I'm keeping my own stats because I don't know what you're writing over there. You're gonna went 2 and 12 on the weekend.
Oh
yeah, that looks legit.
Look, I got like 4 colored markers. Come on now, I'm a machine over here. All right, I'm finishing up. Hawks minus 5.5 over the Wizards. Kev.
Hawks minus 5. You know what? Everything we talked about the Wizards. Let me see. I'll go Hawks.
Kev with Hawks. TJ.
I don't like 5.5. I don't like 5.5 though, but.
Yeah, one thing about the Wizards game, that's going to be high scoring. Like the under-over on Wizards games, it's like they shouldn't even post them. It's like off the charts. I think Atlanta's a good team. Atlanta's trying to make the playoffs. They're going to take the game seriously. They're going to cover. So that means I'm taking Atlanta.
Yeah, TJ, the over/under on Atlanta, that game is 232. Everyone else, it's the highest. It's the highest by 3 points. The only ones that are close are Kings, Raptors, and Nets, Thunder.
Like you can see Trey. They're trying to drop 50. Like because Washington's not playing any defense at all. Like none, not even trying. Don't even care.
All right, I'm in with the. Actually, you know what? I get the Wizards. I do. I have the Wizards because I have it as a close game, and I think it's going to end up being the Wizards. So I'm going against you guys on that one. Ha! Nuggets minus 3.5 at the Spurs to finish it up. DJ.
Spurs not playing bad. Spurs are actually playing pretty good. Denver's playing better. I'll take Denver.
You like Denver though. That's one of your teams, right?
It is. I mean, it's kind of a cop-out because they're already good. I prefer to ride Cleveland.
That works. Kev?
I told you before the first show I will never bet the Spurs because of Pop social justice warrior, so I have to go with the Nuggets.
And I'm going to go with the Spurs at home. Again, 3.5. So you guys pretty much agreed on almost everything. We'll see how that works out.
Never.
Which I don't like. That's what I was saying. I said that earlier. I don't like that at all.
I don't like that. Hey, I do want to say, because I know we're winding down, we're getting past our time, but I'd really like to do something on Saturdays and even sneak in if there's another night where there's a couple of ESPN games, like even if we jump on for 15 minutes with like an analysis of like, hey, listen, there's 4 teams playing tonight. Let's just break them down real quick and get some of that out there. I'm happy to do that because one of the challenges, because I'm trying to follow along, right? I mean, I'm saying something to you guys and I want to be accountable for it, but saying something about tomorrow night's games when we don't know who's playing yet sucks. Like, it's just hard. And there's a difference between an excuse and a reason. Like, I'm not just making an excuse, but the other night, Embiid didn't play the front end of a back-to-back. And it's like, well, had I known that, obviously I wouldn't have taken. I wouldn't. And it's like, that's not right. If someone's catching this, like right before they go online, that's going to suck.
Here's how I'm trying to remedy that, right? Here's what the thing I've been doing for the last couple of days, and me and the genius will be discussing this maybe tomorrow or sometime like that. I'm trying to get our Twitter feeds to come up on the website live. That way, if we make our picks, we make our picks on a Thursday night for Thursday, Friday, and then we make our picks on a Saturday for Saturday, Sunday. Shit changes, shit goes down. You can look on our site for any changes. We can send out like a tweet saying, "Hey, what's his face isn't playing? Go, this team." That's what we need to do. We need to be able to not just like do these podcasts really quick, but we need another way for them to come to the website and just get the info fast, because there could be like a basketball game that you totally change your mind at like 10 minutes to the game because you just found out something. We should be able to tweet, have it come right to the website, and anybody paying attention to the website, and if they subscribe to the website, they get a notification.
Or the line
we'll have it so they're set up. You know what I mean? Because that's the best way to do it, because it's tough to get everybody together to film something. But like if Coach TJ could just go, oh, Embiid isn't playing, don't go to 6, bang.
Or the line, the line, when some of these guys sit, the line moves 3.5.
Yeah.
It's like, if you were thinking about taking Philly, now I double what you were going to do, because it's going to get like that. So
that's how I think we can remedy it.
The more value we bring, the more value closer to when tip-off is what's going to be best, because as awesome as this show is, you start getting 2 days down the line, and it's like, okay, well, what happened?
Yeah.
So,
Good.
It's funny. It's almost the opposite of NFL, because NFL, you get a lot of value early in the week when they just post the lines and you can kind of jump on something because it's only one game a week. NBA is almost the opposite. Like you're more likely to get news that's going to validate something you did earlier rather than reinforce it. It's how I see it as of now, anyway.
Look, basketball, this show could be at least twice a week because of how the NBA is, right? So we, moving forward, probably should talk about maybe finding another night, even if it's like a half hour. But we got to do that thing like where we notify people on that Saturday. That should be like a quick half-hour show. And then we need to get the Twitter feed or some sort of blog, like you were saying, ability to just, boom, go right up on the main page so people can get up-to-date information. I mean, the main goal is to make sure everyone comes to legitfantasysports.com. So anything that we can incorporate and bring into the platform, it helps us. It helps everybody else that has a podcast on the platform, right?
Get us 100,000 viewers. I'll do this shit every day before tip-off. I'll come on. You get 100,000 viewers. I'll come on every day, 6:45. I'll give 3 winners. Boom, boom, boom.
You know what? If I get that many viewers, I'll be there with you with a fucking bow tie. I don't know about you, Kev, but Jesus Christ.
Bow tie and cummerbund. Both.
Yeah, right?
I'll see the bow tie and raise you the cummerbund.
So, look, I'm really enjoying talking basketball because I don't get to talk to basketball with adults anymore. Like it's always with kids. I'm being honest. It's like kids. I want to talk with adults, and I think people want to hear it. I think what we got going for us is that we're giving you information, but we're not giving it to you in a bland, everybody's saying the same shit type of way. And that's, I think, what's going to separate us. That and how good we are with picks. We're all pretty much on the same page. So hopefully it all works out. And keeping it up to date is what will separate us. I think that's what's going to be a big push. That they can depend on us, that we'll make sure you have the right picks before the tip-off. Does that make sense?
There it is.
Makes sense to me.
Gentlemen, with that, for Coach TJ, for the Genius Kev, I'm King McHale, Mike Lepre. This is Legit Fantasy Basketball from legitfantasysports.com. You will see us on Saturday. Time to be determined, but just check the website, and we will have a new box where you subscribe, and you'll be notified of whenever we have something new posted. Thank you guys for Legit Fantasy Sports. Gentlemen, thank you.